True power is not always visible. Sometimes it moves silently and changes everything without a single announcement. If alpha males are seen as kings, then sigma males belong to a different class entirely. Not above, not below, just outside the usual chart people use to measure strength. Most people understand power through visibility. They think the person who stands in front, speaks the loudest, or commands a crowd must be the strongest. That is why society often crowns the alpha. He is bold, direct, and impressive. But the sigma moves differently. His presence is felt before people fully notice him and understood long after he leaves. A sigma male does not compete for the spotlight because he has nothing to prove. His confidence comes from understanding himself, not from the reactions of others. While the alpha builds influence through attention, the sigma builds it through choices, consistency, and depth. He studies situations. He reads people. He sees patterns others miss because he is not distracted by the need to be admired. This makes him the man who shapes a space without trying to dominate it. People follow him by instinct, not instruction. He does not claim a throne because he does not need a title to validate his strength. His authority comes from clarity of mind and mastery of self. If the alpha rules the kingdom, the sigma designs his own world. He is the quiet force that changes the direction of a room, the man who leads without asking for a single follower, and the one person who understands that real power does not need to be crowned to be absolute. Let's dive in deeper. Gents. Number 1. The ones who shape kingdoms without sitting on the throne. Some men are known for their crowns. Others are remembered for their fingerprints on everything the world becomes. That is where the sigma stands. He is not the man who walks into the center of the room, demanding attention. He is the man who rewrites the room itself without saying a word. While the alpha proudly wears the crown in public, the sigma is the quiet force that shifts the direction of the entire kingdom without needing the applause that comes with leadership. It is easy to notice an alpha because his power is loud and visible. People recognize his voice, his moves, his authority. The sigma operates in a different way. His influence is subtle but incredibly deep. He is the type of man who can change a group's entire mood just by walking in. He is the type of man who gives advice once, and the advice ends up guiding someone's life for years. He is not the face of the empire, yet his decisions can quietly shape the empire itself. Think of a workplace example. The alpha might be the manager who runs meetings and sits at the head of the table. Everyone sees him as the leader. But in the corner sits the sigma. He is the one who understands the system better than anyone. He is the one people come to privately when they want clarity. He is the one whose ideas subtly guide the direction of the entire team, even if he never seeks the spotlight. When something goes wrong, the alpha looks confident, but it is the sigma people trust to find real solutions. This ability comes from one simple truth. The sigma does not chase recognition. He chases mastery. He invests in his mind, his skills, and his judgment until he becomes the person whose presence brings order, even when he says nothing. That is the kind of power that does not need a throne. It shapes the kingdom from behind the scenes and does so with calm, quiet certainty. Number 2, the man who owns the map, not the castle. There is a special kind of man who does not need a crown to feel powerful. He does not need a castle filled with people praising him or a room full of followers cheering his name. He is the man who owns the map. The alpha may rule the land everyone can see, but the sigma understands something deeper. The future belongs to the person who decides where the next path leads. A castle is fixed in one place. Once you own it, you defend it, you protect it, and you spend your life trying not to lose it. A map, on the other hand, gives you freedom. It gives you vision. It shows you new territories, new opportunities, and new directions. The Sigma knows that real power is not about locking yourself into one position. Real power is the ability to create new ground for yourself every time the world shifts. You see this in real life. Think about the man who refuses to settle for a job just because it sounds stable. Instead of chasing titles, he learns skills that open doors in every industry. He invests in growth, not in appearances. While others are fighting to keep their small spot in the world, he is quietly planning how to step into a larger space that no one else even noticed. Owning the map means you do not fear change. You expect it. You study it. You use it to your advantage. While everyone is fighting for the same crowded castle, the Sigma is already halfway through a new route that leads to a future no one else has imagined yet. This is why people cannot replace him. The Alpha commands the present. The Sigma shapes what comes next. He does not chase the world, he redraws it. And in a society obsessed with keeping what they have, the man who knows how to expand is the one who truly holds the power. Number 3, the storm that cannot be predicted. Most people understand how to deal with predictable power. They know how to respond to loud confidence. They know what to expect from someone who walks into a room and announces his authority. That is why people can prepare for an Alpha. His strength is visible and familiar. It follows a pattern people already recognize. But a Sigma does not follow any pattern at all. He moves with a kind of quiet intensity that never reveals what is happening underneath. This is why he feels like a storm that cannot be predicted. A real storm does not warn you. It does not send a message ahead of time. It gathers in silence, far away from attention, and by the time it reaches you, it has already changed the entire landscape. That is exactly how a Sigma operates. He is not impulsive, he is calculating. He does not react to pressure. He studies it. He does not seek revenge. He chooses the moment when the world is most unprepared. Think of that one person at work or in your social circle who never makes noise, never asks for recognition, and never competes with anyone. Everyone overlooks him because he stays in his lane. But when a problem comes up that no one else can solve, he is the one who steps forward with a solution that seems impossible. People look at him and wonder where that strength came from. The answer is simple. He has been building it in silence. A Sigma does not fight for the spotlight because he understands something most people never learn. Control is more effective when no one sees it coming. Influence is more powerful when it does not look like influence. When he decides to make a move, it hits with the force of a quiet storm, a storm that builds slowly, a storm that bends everything in its path, a storm no one predicted because they were too busy watching someone louder. That is the nature of a Sigma. He is the power you feel but never see until it is already too late to prepare. Number 4, the builder of systems kings depend on. Some men lead from the front. They shout commands, stand in the spotlight, and carry the flag where everyone can see them. That is the Alpha. But behind every confident leader, behind every king who appears to have the world in his hands, there is usually a silent mind working in the background. That is the Sigma. He is the one who creates the structure that makes leadership possible in the first place. Think about it like a grand building. The Alpha is the face of the building. He stands in the lobby greeting everyone. But the Sigma is the architect who designed every hallway, every corner, every support beam. You may never see his name on the wall, but you walk through his ideas every day. His fingerprints are everywhere, even when he is nowhere in sight. This is why Sigma men move differently. They are not drawn to applause or attention. They care about the foundation. They care about the blueprint. They want to understand how everything works beneath the surface. While the Alpha enjoys the roar of the crowd, the Sigma is studying how the crowd behaves, why they move the way they do, and how to shape the environment so things run smoothly whether he is present or not. You see this in real life. In a company, the alpha becomes the manager who motivates everyone. But the sigma is the person who creates the system the team follows. He builds the strategy that turns ideas into results. The team might celebrate the leader, but the structure they use every day came from the quiet mind who prefers to stay in the background. This is the strange strength of the sigma. He does not need a title. He does not need public praise. He understands something most people never learn. Control does not always belong to the person out front. Real influence belongs to the person who designs the world that others operate in. The king may hold the crown, but the sigma built the throne he sits on. Number 5, the leader who never asks to be followed. There is a certain kind of man whose presence works in silence, yet pulls people in without effort. He does not stand on a stage, he does not raise his voice, and he does not try to convince anyone to trust his path. Still, people watch him closely. They study how he thinks, how he moves, and how he carries himself through challenges. This man is the sigma. He becomes a leader not through commands, but through the quiet strength of his life. What makes this kind of leadership different is that it does not depend on approval. He does not need applause to feel worthy. He does not walk around trying to impress anyone. His confidence is not loud. It is rooted in deep self-respect and a clear understanding of who he is. And because he is not desperate for attention, people feel a different kind of respect for him. It is a respect that grows naturally. Think of that one person everyone observes even when he is not trying to be noticed. Maybe it is the worker in a company who never competes for the spotlight, but ends up being the one everyone turns to when things get confusing. Maybe it is the guy in a friend group who rarely speaks, but when he finally shares his thoughts, the entire room stops talking. That is the power of someone who leads through example rather than demand. People imitate him because they sense the peace he carries. They study him because his choices are intentional. Some even fear him because they cannot predict him or manipulate him. His independence challenges them. It exposes their need for approval and their fear of standing alone. The most interesting part is that he does not even try to create followers. His goal is not to lead anyone. His goal is to master himself, and that is what draws people in. He becomes a walking reminder that real power comes from alignment with oneself, not from controlling others. In the end, he teaches one quiet truth. When you live with clarity and depth, leadership becomes a consequence, not a mission. You do not chase influence. Influence simply finds you. Number 6, the ghost that people chase but never catch. There are men who walk through life with loud energy. You see them, you hear them, and you know exactly what they want. Then there is the sigma. He moves differently. His presence is felt but never fully understood. He becomes the ghost people chase but never catch, not because he is hiding, but because he refuses to live on anyone's stage. A sigma does not perform for approval. He does not twist himself to fit trends or groups. He does not build his identity around what others expect from him. This creates a kind of quiet depth that people cannot stop thinking about. They sense something powerful beneath the surface, yet they cannot place their finger on it. That mystery alone draws attention without him trying. Think about someone you once knew who stayed true to himself in every situation. Maybe he did not talk much, yet people listened when he finally spoke. Maybe he walked away from circles that others begged to join. Maybe he took a different path and looked completely calm while doing it. That is the sigma effect. His detachment is not cold. It is clarity. He refuses to let society write his script. This is why people chase him. They want to understand how he thinks, what drives him, what he cares about, and why he does not crumble under pressure like everyone else. They want to decode him because he represents something rare, a man who is completely grounded in himself. But they never fully catch him, not because he is running, but because he is not trying to be caught. You cannot grasp a man who belongs only to his path. You cannot define a person who refuses every label, and you cannot control someone who chooses freedom over applause. This is the truth. The Sigma is not mysterious on purpose. He is simply a man who lives with such honesty and independence that the world cannot predict, shape, or contain him. That is why he remains unforgettable. A presence you feel, a mind you respect, and a ghost you never fully capture. Number 7, the man who walks his own road, even if no one understands it, is a rare breed in a world that constantly demands conformity. While most people look for approval and reassurance, he does not seek validation from the crowd or the kingdom. He understands that true freedom comes from defining your own path, even if it appears strange or confusing to others. His decisions, his routines, and his ambitions are guided by his own compass, not by the expectations of society. Imagine a man who leaves a high-paying job that everyone envies because it does not align with his purpose. To onlookers, it may seem reckless, even foolish, but to him, it is a deliberate step toward crafting a life that feels authentic and meaningful. He measures success not by the applause of the masses, but by the quiet satisfaction of walking a road that resonates with his vision. In doing so, he is never trapped by rules he did not write, or by systems he did not design. This man is a creator of worlds in a very real sense. His world is built on principles he chooses, values he honors, and goals he pursues. He is not bound by fear of judgment, because he recognizes that the kingdom he walks through is temporary, while the world he builds for himself is lasting. Every choice he makes, every risk he takes, is an expression of his freedom and self-reliance. Walking your own road requires courage because it is lonely at times. People may question your sanity, your priorities, or your direction, but the Sigma man knows that isolation is not weakness, it is clarity. It allows him to move with precision, to build with intention, and to live without compromise. When he steps forward, it is with the quiet confidence of someone who has accepted that life is not about fitting in. It is about creating a reality that honors who he truly is. In the end, the man who walks his own road leaves a legacy not measured by how many followed him, but by the world he dared to shape while others were busy chasing approval. His life becomes a blueprint of freedom, mastery, and unwavering purpose. Number 8. The man who has nothing to prove yet proves everything is a presence you feel before you even fully understand him. He is not loud, he does not need to boast, and he never competes for attention. His power lies in his actions, in the quiet consistency of his life, and in the results he produces without fanfare. People may underestimate him at first, dismissing him as ordinary or unambitious, only to realize later that he has been quietly achieving things others only dream about. Think of a person who shows up every day, perfecting his craft while others are busy trying to appear important. He does not announce his victories because he knows that attention is temporary, but mastery lasts. A Sigma man may quietly build a business that dominates an industry without ever stepping on stage to claim it. Or he may create innovations that change the lives of thousands while remaining unseen, preferring influence over recognition. His work speaks louder than any speech could. He proves everything not through words but through undeniable evidence. His discipline, intelligence, and choices make an impact that commands respect without demanding it. People around him eventually realize that trying to measure him by conventional standards of power, dominance, or status is pointless. He has already reached a level where metrics of approval no longer matter, because he understands that true value is demonstrated through results, not applause. What makes him extraordinary is that he operates in a space untouched by ego. He does not chase validation or compete for superficial hierarchies. Instead, he focuses on mastery, vision, and freedom. In doing so, he becomes untouchable by societal pressures and unshakable in his purpose. The Sigma man who has nothing to prove yet proves everything reminds us that real power is subtle, quiet, and unnoticeable at first glance. It is the ability to create, to excel, and to influence the world profoundly without ever needing to announce it. His life is proof that impact does not require a stage, and true greatness is revealed in results, not noise. Number 9, the force that operates outside every hierarchy is the Sigma man at his purest. While the world is obsessed with rankings, titles, and who stands above whom, he moves in a completely different dimension. He does not care for promotions, social status, or approval, because he knows that true power does not live inside someone else's framework. You cannot outrank someone who has chosen not to play the ranking game. To him, these hierarchies are tools for others, not chains to hold him. Imagine a corporate office where everyone is fighting for titles and recognition. The Sigma sits quietly, doing his work with precision but never playing office politics. While others expend energy trying to climb ladders, he is quietly creating opportunities no one else sees. When he moves, it is on his own terms, dictated by his own rules. People may notice him, but they rarely understand him. He is not bound by the same rules that define success for others, so no one can predict his path or control his influence. This is the power of operating outside hierarchy. He is untouchable because he refuses to be part of the very system that limits others. While alpha males fight to maintain their position in the social pyramid, the Sigma navigates freely, creating his own space. His influence is subtle but undeniable. He can guide decisions, shape opinions, and command respect without ever sitting on the throne because his freedom and autonomy make him inherently unassailable. Being outside the hierarchy requires courage and self-awareness. It demands that a man be comfortable with solitude and unconcerned with validation. He must trust his judgment over popular opinion and move with intent without needing permission. In this way, he becomes a force the world cannot contain, a presence that operates on principles others cannot dictate. The Sigma man who exists outside every hierarchy is a living paradox. He is both invisible and unforgettable, free and powerful, untouchable yet profoundly influential. He teaches us that the real mastery of life comes not from climbing the ladders others build, but from walking a path only you can define. Number 10. The strategist who does not need a crown to influence the game is a Sigma man who understands that real power rarely announces itself. He does not seek titles or accolades, because his influence comes from his mind, not from any visible symbol of authority. While others rely on position, prestige, or status to make moves, he relies on observation, insight, and timing. He reads people like open books, seeing patterns, motivations, and weaknesses that others overlook. He sees situations not just for what they are, but for what they could become, and he uses that knowledge to shape outcomes silently and decisively. Imagine a chessboard where every player is focused on capturing the king. The Sigma man is off to the side, quietly repositioning pieces, anticipating moves several steps ahead. No one even realizes his impact until the board has shifted in ways they cannot undo. He influences decisions, negotiations, and strategies without ever claiming the spotlight because he knows that the crown is irrelevant if you control the flow of the game. What sets him apart is patience and precision. He does not rush to prove himself, and he does not waste energy on gestures or performances. Every move is calculated, deliberate, and aligned with a long-term vision. People may underestimate him at first, thinking he is silent or inactive, but it is precisely this invisibility that gives him an undetectable advantage. His power comes from perception, understanding, and timing, not from noise or aggression. The Sigma strategist is also adaptive. He does not cling to ego or rigid plans. If a situation shifts, he shifts faster, recalibrating strategies with a clarity that surprises even the most confident opponents. His influence spreads quietly through connections, ideas, and subtle guidance, creating impact that is both profound and invisible. In a world obsessed with crowns and recognition, he reminds us that the real game is never about standing above others. It is about seeing the board clearly, anticipating every move, and shaping outcomes so seamlessly that it feels like luck, even to those caught in his wake. Number 11. The quiet architect of his own legend is a Sigma man who builds his life like an unseen master craftsman. He does not chase applause or recognition because he knows that fleeting attention has no real value. While the Alpha seeks the cheers of the crowd, the Sigma seeks mastery over his craft, his mind, and his life. He is focused on creating something lasting, something that will outlive the noise of the moment and echo through time. Think of an inventor working late into the night unnoticed, while the world celebrates flashy displays of success. His work is meticulous, deliberate, and quiet. When the world eventually realizes the impact of his innovations, it may feel like luck or coincidence, but the truth is that he has been building his legacy deliberately, step by step. This is the essence of the Sigma man. He understands that real greatness does not require a spotlight. It requires patience, precision, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Being the architect of one's own legend requires deep self-awareness. He studies himself, refines his skills, and pushes past weaknesses, not to impress others, but to become the version of himself that no one can challenge. He does not compare his journey to anyone else's. The Sigma's path is unique, unhurried, and unapologetically authentic. Every decision, every sacrifice, every quiet victory is a brick in the monument of his life. Unlike those remembered by applause, he is remembered by time. His influence stretches beyond trends, fleeting popularity, or social hierarchies. People may admire him silently, others may try to imitate him, but no one can replicate the dedication, the foresight, and the integrity that define his legacy. The quiet architect teaches us that true mastery is invisible until it is undeniable. His life is proof that building something real takes focus, patience, and independence from the world's validation. One man may chase the crown, but the Sigma builds a legend that no crown could ever contain. Power is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers and moves mountains quietly. If alpha males are kings, then Sigma males are the invisible force that shapes the world without ever needing a crown. They do not seek attention, validation, or applause because they understand that true influence comes from mastery, clarity, and self-reliance. While kings lead with presence and command, Sigmas lead with insight and precision. They move through life on their own terms, creating impact in ways others cannot predict or control. A Sigma does not compete for status because he knows his power lies in choosing his own path and influencing outcomes without needing permission. He studies people, reads situations, and acts with patience and foresight. His strength is subtle yet undeniable. His actions speak louder than words, and his results create ripples that outlast the temporary reign of any king. Living as a Sigma requires courage, independence, and self-awareness. It means being comfortable with solitude, trusting your own judgment over the opinions of the masses, and prioritizing freedom and purpose over recognition. It is a path that few understand, and even fewer dare to follow. In the end, Sigma males teach us that greatness is not always measured by visibility or applause. It is measured by the quiet mastery of life, the power to influence without demanding attention, and the ability to walk your own road while the world watches in awe and often fails to catch up. They are not kings in the traditional sense, but they are architects of impact, legends of subtlety, and forces that shape the world quietly yet profoundly. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.